Fight fans, buckle up. Jon Jones just put the heavyweight division on notice. Again. In a fresh sit-down, he said he's not retired. He's training 5 days a week, he's in the UFC testing pool, and he's prepping for the White House card if it happens. But the final call is Dana White's. That single qualifier does two things at once. It reassures fans that Jones is in camp mode, not cruise mode, and it puts polite public pressure on the matchmaker without a whiff of drama. It's veteran leverage. Do the work in silence, speak once, and make the room rearrange itself. Practically, this freezes every heavyweight plan in amber. If Tom Aspinall wins his next one, the super fight siren will be deafening. If other dominoes fall, the mere fact that Bones is ready keeps everyone honest. No champ or contender can map out 6 months without penciling in a Jones contingency. And the tone matters. He isn't calling names or cutting promos. He's saying, I'm in shape, I'm eligible, I'm ready. Your move. That's how you steer a division without throwing a punch. The matchup layers write themselves. Jones brings the best distance management the division has seen. A kicking game that steals habits, elbows that punish clinch bravado, and the kind of fight IQ that turns opponents' A-game into detours. Anyone facing him has to solve rhythm first, then deny that long-armed clinch, then stay mistake-free for 25. It's a thesis defense, not a midterm. And Jones just told us he's already in the library. Stay ahead of the fight game, subscribe, and ring the bell. Now to Khamzat Chimaev and the long game his team just spotlighted. Head coach Alan Do Nascimento says the mission isn't just a belt, it's history. 2 divisions, maybe 3, when the timing is right. That's not chaos, that's architecture. You pick dates and bodies that build legacy. You keep the operating system the same. Relentless entries, suffocating rides, mat returns that break hearts before they break positions, and pressure that turns minutes into weapons. Yes, Nassourdine Imavov just put 5 clean rounds on Caio Baralho and called for the shot. His case is obvious and strong, but here's the short version you asked for. If the Rainier de Ritter versus Anthony Fluffy Hernandez fight on October 18th ends in a statement finish. Momentum could leapfrog method. If it fizzles, Imavov's 5 steady rounds plus France behind him becomes the easiest phone call the UFC can make. That's the lane, brief and real. What never changes is the Khamzat equation. Don't just stop the shot, stop the sequence. Kill grips before they become rides. Kill rides before they become top time. The moment you surrender those layers, your striking becomes late and your lungs start writing IOUS. Anyone who wants that fight needs not just takedown defense, they need defiance. Costa versus Shara is already a brushfire. Reports have the UFC targeting November 22 in Qatar. Paulo Costa tossed a dark eye-poke joke online about Shara Bullet Magomedov, who is blind in one eye, and Shara's camp fired back. Most fans called the line out of bounds. Ethics aside, the matchup is a striker's exam with unforgiving margins. Costa is most dangerous when he compresses the cage, forces the pocket, and rips the body so your counters arrive tired. Shara's game is geometry, feints that steal your base, angles that make you punch a ghost, singles that land with clean, hostile accuracy. Watch the first 3 minutes. If Costa owns footwork tempo and pins Shara to the rail, the volume and bodywork will start subtracting options. If Shara sets the angles first, Costa ends up chasing smoke while eating precise counters. Risk-reward is savage. A Costa highlight pulls him back into title talk. A Shara masterclass over a marquee name changes his standing overnight. Topuria tossed a live wire when he said he'd put Bud to sleep in a boxing ring on first contact. Crawford, cool as a shadow, already needled Ilia by saying Cody Garbrandt has the best pure boxing in the UFC. That's a double sting. You're not on my level, and you're not the best at my craft even in your sport. Will it happen next? Probably not. Is the talk valuable? Absolutely, for both. Technically, Ilia's brilliance is optimized for MMA context, level change feints that set up pull counters, pocket power in 4-ounce gloves, fence threats that keep opponents honest. In 16-ounce gloves with no clinch to wrestle bailouts, ring craft and jab discipline rule. Exits, angles, and lead hand control become king. That's Bud's home lab. None of this erases Ilia's power, it just changes the delivery system. That's why the debate hums. Mechanics versus myth, translation versus star power. Even as fantasy, it forces Ilia to keep polishing and gives Bud a free sparring session in the court of public opinion. Plenty of fans heard new Paramount deal and thought PPV is dead. UFC exec David Shaw drew the line clearly. In the US, pay-per-view as a distribution model is gone under the new deal. Outside the US, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, and others, PPV still lives. Also unchanged, big card timing built around US prime time, 10 p.m. Eastern Time, 7 p.m. Pacific Time for main cards. You don't retrain millions of Saturday night habits by memo. Paris is now a pillar, not a novelty. The read from The Office is at least one event a year, maybe two, if the global calendar, China, Middle East, London, Brazil, Canada, Australia, has space. The strategy is obvious. Plant flags in cities that supercharge partner activations and keep the brand buzzing beyond fight week. When a market gives you sold-out roars and mainstream touchpoints, you feed it. And Vegas? The UFC extended with T-Mobile Arena through 2030, minimum 4 tentpoles a year. If you chase the big fight feel, you're still coming to the Strip. Tom Aspinall marched into a football mad capital and got serenaded with boos at the presser, loud, unified, almost musical. He grinned, called it a circus, and moved on. The tone of this build with Cyril Gane is competitive, not petty. Respectful quotes, calm faces, and a viral backstage week without a single dust-up. Even better, Aspinall's reaction when teammate Ante Delia smoked his opponent in the first round, pure, unfiltered team joy. It reminds you what powers these rooms: family, grind, and the thrill of someone else's win. Inside the cage, their styles are geometry disguised as violence. Gane has to keep the footwork edge alive, turn Tom's first steps into second guesses, and slot intercepts into the space where combinations should start. Aspinall's job is to break the metronome, flash reactive shots, force broader pivots, arrive in the pocket with speed that turns Gane's reads late. If one man establishes his geometry early, inevitability sets in. If they trade edges back and forth, clear your afternoon, this one becomes razor tight. Jones just told the room he's ready, eligible, and working, and that the decision lives with Dana White. That single message tightens the entire heavyweight board. Chimaev's camp reframed his future as legacy architecture, 2, maybe 3 divisions, while the next challenger is a moving target. Imavov if momentum stalls, or the de Ritter/"fluffy" winner if they land a finish on October 18. Costa Shara is already spiking the algorithm, Paris is now a reliable pillar, Vegas stays the cathedral, PPV dies in the US but lives abroad. Topuria versus Crawford keeps boxing vs MMA arguments loud. And a veteran like Paul Craig leaves us with a highlight reel full of improbables. If you want the fight game without fluff and with receipts, make sure you subscribe. That's how you keep analysis like this in your feed instead of rumor mill noise. Enjoyed the breakdown? Hit subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss the October 18 result that could decide who steps in front of Khamzat next. Then jump into the comments. Jones versus who and why? Khamzat versus Imavov or the October 18 finisher? Your picks, your card, let's build it.